Hey Hero fans, this is Todd. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Sounds like it's going okay. So Jason's working on his own floor too. Excellent. He already has the lava flow. Nice. That's really cool when you can get stuff working on and fixing it and everything else. It's kind of cool to be able to do your stuff on your own at times. So it is time to slice and dice this. And looking at this, I'm going to slice it right here on this line where it's the thickest point all the way across. This way, when it prints this going up, it will it'll be flipped over. Or no, it'll be just like this, I'm sorry. And this way it won't need any supports because it should everything. Then if it's flipped over this way, same thing. It really shouldn't need any supports except for on the stairs. It might need some supports. And that should be about it. So I may end up also slicing it right here on these stairs too. I think I might cut it right on this peg leg and print these separate. Otherwise I'll have stuff in between here. So I think that's my plan. So a slice here. A slice probably right here. And then, of course, a slice on this stalactite hanging down. So that is the plan. What are we cooking? Are we killing someone? We are actually neither one. We're slicing this thing up in order to print it. Because this, for those that just joined for the first time, is a support for my Snake Mountain. So there's Snake Mountain there, and you can see it goes in between there. Just to, you know what? That's the wrong Snake Mountain. There we go. That's the right one. And then I got a bridge that goes across there that I'm already making, already printing. And that'll make it really cool because the bridge can fall. It's separatable. It's its own piece printed in brown. This will be printed in gray. It'll be cool, cool, cool. Anyway, I'm going to turn those two back off. Turn off the bridge. Turn off the Snake Mountain. And let's go to here. So, I need to slice this. And now when I want to slice it, I want to make pieces to hold it together. Now my first thought was to put pins on one side and holes on the other. But the more I thought about that, I thought that's a really bad idea. Because if it doesn't work right, I can't just change the pin. I got to reprint the whole thing. So instead I'm going to slice it and then make a pin that goes in on both sides here. And I was thinking about making it like a hexagon pin. Because I think that'll give it some good angles to keep it in there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this hexagon pin first before I start slicing and dicing this. And the program I'm going to use is I'm going to use my Imagine to do that. Here's my Imagine program. You know what? I'm not even sharing my screen. I'm sorry, you guys. You're probably like, what the heck? There we go. Here I'm spinning it around and showing you guys everything, and I'm just showing the main screen. Sorry. Okay, let me go back to my Blender. There we go. So, let me turn this back on so you guys can see those who haven't been here. So here is the Snake Mountain. Whoop, and here is the bridge. Whoop. So now you can see what I was talking about just a few seconds ago. And we are going to slice this right here at the thickest point. Right there, and then this will print up and this will print down, and that way then we'll have it. And I might also slice it, like I said, right here on this leg and right here on this stalactite. And the stalactite I'm going to have held on the magnet, not a pin, I'm guessing. I don't know, I may change my mind later on. We'll see which works best. So with that, let's first create our pins. Hey, thanks Charles. Finally start over, Todd. Sorry. It's hard to remember to change stuff over on the other app. So I'm going to go to my program called Imagine. And this is made by my friends Mike Halverson and Zach Knutson. And I'm just going to create an object here. And I will create a tube. Tubular man. And usually I have this like this. That's how I usually, when I'm actually making stuff. There we go. That's how I have it. And this tube. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna make it a tube. And so here's my box for my tube. I'm gonna only make it one vertical section and 6 circular sections. And I'm not gonna stagger the points. And I am going to not Fong shade it. There we go. And there is my hexagon. And then I'm going to close the top, close the bottom. And there it is. There is my pin I'm going to use to connect these things. I think that will work pretty good. It's a nice pin. Now it's weird if you hit stagger, whoop, you get this weird kind of effect going on. And that is a bad pin. But this pin will be nice. Now what's nice about it is, if I mess up and I make it the wrong size, both holes will be the exact same size. So I can just make a new pin, reprint it, and drive on. So I like to have my pins separate than to have them attached. A lot of people like to have their pins as part of the object. I am not a fan of that. So let's go ahead and make this pin. There it is. And you can see it up here in this top corner. Ooh, ah. That will work really good. I'm going to F1 it in order to select it. And then I'm going to object export STL. And we will just call this hex pin underscore 001. Dun, da, da. Now that the hex pin's made, I need to make sure that all of the vertices are pointed the right direction. So I'm going to file, open this. I'm using Accutrans 3D, and it's a pretty inexpensive program. It works really good. And I didn't even know about this for years. I couldn't figure out why my stuff wasn't working all the time. And then when I found out that you have to make sure that all of your things are pointing in the right direction, then it made sense. So here is my hex pin. And now I need to go to align nominals and check it on all the sides and make sure there's no red spots. So far so good. Usually I have one somewhere, but this is looking like it's already pretty much lined up. Hey, cool, I don't have any errors. Hooray, no errors. That is rare. Usually I have one whole entire side of the errors somewhere. So that's awesome. Even though I had no errors, I'm just going to resave it just because I'm afraid. I fear the wind. If anybody can say where that phrase is from, what movie, I fear the wind, then I will, you win. You win. Yes, replace it. Okay, now that my hex pin is made, and now let's go back to Blender. Here we are in Blender. Let's go ahead and file, import, STL, hex pin, oops, hex pin, import, bam, and of course it's monstrous in size, so we're going to have to shrink it down. Brrr. Whoop, whoop. I have my model set to 1/10 the size of what it really is. I found out in Blender if I try to make things actual size, they just freak out. So now this hex pin, I could just use one. Just use one hex pin. Excuse me. But the problem with using one hex pin is, even though if I did it right in the middle, it could potentially work. I kind of don't want to do that. I want to have at least 2 hex pins. And again, I made them kind of big so that they can be easily, you know, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Just a little bit smaller now. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let's resize that. Boop. There we go. That's more what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. And let's see where I have it set center-wise. We will stick one here. Copy, paste, and we'll put one right there. That's pretty good. Hopefully they both didn't move. Okay, cool. So there are my 2 hex pins. I'll reposition them as time goes on, but right now they're in the middle of the model, so I have an idea where I want them. It does sound like a brain. Burp, 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 burp. Especially this little piece right here going in and out and in and out. It is very brain-like. That's funny. Burp. Maybe I should fix the way those look there. You know what? Nah, I think it looks fine. Nah, you know what? That's a good point. I'm going to fix his brain just a little bit. I am going to go to, you know what, I'm going to save it first. File, save as number 38. No, it already is 38. Number 39. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and do another little top view. Let's do a little more slicing on here, or sculpting. I don't have my iPad turned on, so what I have to do is by hand. And I am going to choose this and 14. And let's just go in and fix those spots that look more like a brain. Where were they? I think it's right in here. There we go. That looks a little bit better now. I'm just using my mouse to do this time instead of my iPad. Now the sticky part using my mouse is I can't choose how hard I'm pushing on it. I think that looks a little better. Now it's just a bunch of little rocks. Okay. Back to object mode. Let's take a look. Yeah, that looks a little better now. Doesn't look quite so brain-like. Actually, you know, I want to fix right here. Right here has been bugging me. Okay, let's sculpt. There we go. There we go. Less brain-like now. Much better. Thanks for pointing out the brain look to me. Okay. Let's go and save it again. That way I don't lose. In case I need to jump back and decide I didn't like something I did. Okay. Let's go back to slicing and dicing. So, I'm going to create a block, add, mesh, and we're going to make it just one big giant cube. There it is. Boop. You got to do the sound effects, right? And we will move this cube over right on top, just like that. Now you want to line it up right where I was telling you and make sure that it is right in the right spot where I want this. Right there. That is the point of intersection I want to use. Let's see. Drew Daly says you should make the stairs look the same as purple bricks or wood with texture. That's kind of a cool idea. I like that, but I'm not going to do it. But I do like that idea. That would have been cool to put some kind of texture on them, but I think having them smoother worked just fine. Someone spent time doing the smoothing of the bricks. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let me save this. File, save as. I'm telling you now, save often. Whenever you do one little move that you really like, do it. Okay, so now, this is the tricky part. I'm going to take this, and I am going to duplicate it. So, copy, paste. Oops. That's not what I want. Okay. Control copy. Control paste. There we go. Now I have two of them there. It's hard to tell, but I do. And they are my upper floor 30 and 30.001. So I'm going to hide this one for now and show just the one. And I'm going to take this block right here. And I'm going to do what's known as a boolean. Now I know you guys can't see it, so I'm going to scoot it over so you can watch. Boop. There we go. And my add modifier, I'm going to choose boolean. Boolean. Choose fast, difference. Choose your plunger thing there. And then click this block. Click. And it knocked off the top half. That's what we want. And now let's go ahead and hit apply and see how it looks. And now let's turn off the cube and make sure it's solid. And it is. We got a nice flat top for that piece. Now the other piece, I want it in the exact same spot. So I'm going to turn this one off, turn this one on, turn my cube back on, and now I'm going to copy my cube. Control copy, Control V, and now I'm going to call my cube 2. Instead, I'm going to call it upper floor top. Upper floor top 030. There we go. And it's going to drop down here. And now I'm going to turn off the cube. Now I got a copy of it. Make sure I only have my upper floor 3001 on there. Let me just double check everything here. Turn this off. Turn this on. And we'll name this one right here bottom so I know. Bottom. Okay. Okay. There we go. There we go. So let's turn off the bottom. Leave this one on. Leave this on. And now I'm going to choose the block instead. Add modifier boolean. And this time I'm going to do intersect. And this time I'm going to choose fast again. And I'm going to choose the bottom piece. Ka-chink. And what that does is it turns my block into the top half. So now when I turn this off, there's my top half. Ooh, so now I got a top half and I got a bottom half. And they are two separate objects, completely split exactly where I want and perfectly lined up. So that is cool. Juan Soto asked a question, how I know the stairs are big enough for the feet of the figure. That is a great question, Juan. Let's go ahead and jump back. Jump back. Here's a figure in actual size. Whoop, and you can see how he looks. So these stairs here are going to be too small, but these stairs down here work pretty good. So here's the other figure. And you can see the size he's going to be next to the stairs. So that is the size of a real figure in comparison. Which is why this stalactite's going to be removable. Just kind of a fun thing in the way to kind of be kind of funny. So there it is in comparison to some action figures. All right. So now that I have that, I'm now going to wireframe this again. Boop. And I'm going to find my hex pins. And I am going to make sure that they are evenly spaced between my cut lines. Just like so. Now before I go any further, I'm going to save it. Number 42. All right. So now I want to make those pins holes in these objects. So to do that, let's start with just the top one. So let's turn off the bottom. And you can see how far those pins stick in there. Turn it solid. And I want the pins to remain separate because I don't want to lose them. So I'm going to take a copy of this pin right here. And I'm going to copy it. Copy, paste. And I'm just going to turn it off just so I have it. And I'm going to rename it Hex Pin Master. That way I know this is the main key for later on what I have to print to hold them together. Now I'm going to take these two and I'm going to join them. And this is where things can go wrong. Control J on my keyboard joins them. Now they're one object, so they won't move anymore. And now that they won't move, I'm now going to do my Boolean one more time. Boolean. And fast. And select difference. And choose my hinge pin. And to see if it worked or not, I'm going to click my hinge pin and I'm going to change it to view display as either bounds or wire. Either one will help me. I'll just choose wire. And now I can see the holes that it's going to produce. Ooh, look at that. And it looks like it's working. Let's go back to my Boolean and hit apply. Chink. Now if I turn off those pins, you can see that there are actual holes in there now that match up perfectly. So as you guessed, I'm going to do the same with the bottom too. Turn my pins back on and close the upper floor, turn on the bottom floor, and do the same thing. Add modifier, Boolean, difference, fast, choose, hex pin, and there it goes. Made the holes just right. Apply, and now I have my holes cut out. Yep, they could be bigger, but I'm not going to make them bigger. You could pose 3 figures in these bottom stairs, and you could pose a figure up here on this top ledge. You're not going to be able to pose figures very easily in the middle unless you have their feet spread apart. If I made them bigger, they wouldn't fit on my printer. I made it the biggest I possibly could to fit my whole printer. So this is the maximum size. And now I'm going to turn off my pins. And now I'm going to save. File. Save as. 43. All right. So now it's time to do the exact same thing. But this time I want to do it to this and these. So trying to think where I want to cut this one. I think I want to cut it right here. Yeah, right there. And that's the ticket. So add mesh cube. Where is that cube? There it is. Let's bring it on up. Bring it on up. And now we're going to resize it. Boop. Now this cube's kind of tricky because it has to fit in the right spot up here and encapsulate the stairs and not hit this pin here. So I got a little bit of trickiness to do here. I said right there, right? Okay. It's going to just take me a few minutes to get this all adjusted just the way I want. Z it up. Okay, so far so good. So now, let's bring it down. Bring it on down. And I'm thinking I want to cut a stair in half. Just so that I got a really nice, clean spot to put it back together. Now, if you take a look, you notice I'm cutting into this a little bit. And that could be a problem, because I don't want this stalactite piece to be broken off at all. So I'm going to add another mesh. I guess I could add a cube or a circle. Oh, I don't know the cube. What the heck? Cube. And we'll use this cube later on in order to create our stalactite removal piece. So I'm now going to scale it. Boop. And now I am going to make it a subtract from this. Let me save this file. Save as. 44. Before you ever do a Boolean, you always want to save. With all your stuff you're going to Boolean. Modifier, Boolean, difference, fast, this piece, this square. Now it's hard to tell until I turn it invisible, but I'm just going to guess it worked. And then we'll turn off that cube. Look at that. And now I got a hole cut out that's going to not affect my stalactite. So that was the plan, just to protect that from being cut off accidentally. The stairs are encapsulated. We got that at a half point through that stair. We got that all the way around. All right. So now let's duplicate this. Let's see how I want to do this. You know what? I'm going to duplicate this instead. You know, I don't even need to duplicate it. I could just do it the way... Oh yeah, I do. I got to duplicate this. So... copy, paste. We'll call this lower stairs. There we go. Now I'll turn it off. Got this backwards. We'll turn that off. Turn on lower stairs. Oh, boolean. Intersect. Fast. Wait a second. Wait a minute. Okay, there we go. And that. And then we'll apply. All right, now I got my lower stairs made. We'll turn that off. We'll turn that cube back on. And now we'll slice it. Boolean. Difference. Fast. And Z-block. There we go. This one you can see has been cut off pretty easily. Apply. There we go. Now it's been chopped off. Let's find our lower stairs now. So now those are nice and separated. It's time to add our hex pin in there. We'll grab our hex pin master. There it is. And we'll slide it down to our stairs. This one I'm only going to use one pin for instead of two. Being it's a hex pin, it'll be a little easier to do. I'll put it right in the column. Right in the column. And what's nice is it's the same size pin. This way I can use the same pins for all of them all the way around. File, save as 45. All right. Yep, the pins hold it together. Being they're a hex pin, it makes it so it won't spin, and I could glue it with the hex pin in there. So my plan is to use that glue I was telling you guys about that one time. So I can glue them in there. And now, let's just have some fun here and see if I do it right. Boolean. And hex pin master. Difference, fast, apply. Now we'll choose this one, Boolean, hex pin master, fast, difference, and apply. All right, let's see if it worked. Let me turn off my hex pin master just for fun. Usually I wouldn't do it that way, but hey, I got a hole in there. There's a hole in the bucket. Dear Lila, dear Lila. And let's check our other piece. There's a hole in it or not. So, lower stairs. And hey, look at that. Got my hole. Hooray. So the pin will fit in there too. Cool, cool. We are cooking with oil. All right, file, save as 46. Let's see, James, I think it'd be possible to have a foot on one of the stairs for figure posing. Yeah, I imagine that would work. You could have one on there. I'm not going to add any foot pegs. If you guys want, once you get it, these parts will be 0.3 thick. You could probably drill a little hole and glue your own pin in there. It's pretty easy to do. I don't want to add pins. I hate adding pins because they can snap off, get stuck in the foot, all kinds of other problems. So I'm not a fan of adding foot pegs. I know people like foot pegs, but To me, they just cause more problems. So there they are. And I have to print 3 pins now. 2 here and 1 there. Alright, so now let's talk about this stalactite that I want to be held on with magnetics. So I think I called that cube 12. Boop, there it is. And so now I need to actually measure my magnets to see what size I need. So I'm going to go and turn my camera on so you guys can watch me do this. Hey, so here is my micrometer, and I'm going to turn this on. And now I'm going to measure it in millimeters. And here's my magnets. And I'm just going to measure this magnet across there. Now, because I'm using magnets, it no longer is a kid's toy. And it says it's 6.3 millimeters. So 6.3 millimeters. Oh, it's hard to do this in the camera. I don't know, you guys get the idea. 6.3. Actually, it might even be less than that. Yeah, 6.2, 6.1. It's probably exactly 6. So when I put these in, I got to be careful with a couple things. One, I want them to be removable. No, I don't. I want them to not be removable. So I got to make sure whatever I do, I have to make sure that they stick in there really good and they don't fall out. So that is the key. So let's first get this cut, and then we'll worry about that later. So let's go ahead and turn back on my screen so you guys can see what I'm doing. Hopefully I transitioned. Did you guys see me on camera? Probably not. I probably forgot to transition it. Okay, I did. I forgot to transition it. There we go. Anyway, so I'm going to measure this. There we go. Sorry, I didn't forgot to click the button. Slide that right over, and you can see it says 6.0, 6.1 somewhere in there for the millimeters. So I want a nice tight fit. So I'm going to go ahead, go back to my screen capture, and we're going to worry about cutting this off first, then figure out the magnets. And or cut it off with the magnets. Now I got to be careful. I don't want to get this little stalactite there. I want just this one. And so I have to really think about how I want to do this. So let's go ahead and raise this up a little bit first. Let's go and make it a little bit longer. You know what? The more I think about this, yeah. You know what? I don't want it to be a perfectly smooth section. I want it to have some sort of roughage to it. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of lame if it's just completely flat. So let's go ahead and go to Organica, and let's make a cutting tool for it. Organica! There we go. And I'm going to make my cutting tool kind of barrel-shaped first. And let's see here. I want it to be concave. So let's take this circle and put it up here. And I'm going to turn on my properties, snap to grid. There we go. M for move. Slide this. Oh, grid snap on. There we go. Move this right here. And the way this tool works is these views right here help me figure out what I'm making. This view right here is what it's going to become. So I'm going to change this to a cube size of 1 to make it a little cleaner. Whoop, there we go. Now I could change the precision and the roughness here. I can make this less coarse or more coarse and really smooth it out. And I'm going to turn this little circle on top to a negative object. What I'm looking for is a little bit of concaveness to this. That looks pretty cool. That way it kind of can slide on there a little bit and have a little shape to it and actually be something more than just a total flat cut. Because a flat cut's boring. So now, let's see what else we can do. I got to make my tube longer because I got to make sure it covers the whole stalactite. Some deformations, Z. Now, as cool as that is, that looks pretty good. Like a pretty nice cut, I think, with that half round in there. I'm going to also add some weird little pokey marks in there, because the stalactite, once it's broken off, is not going to be completely clean. There we go. And let's go ahead and change the shape to be less round so it can be spiky pointy. Let's give it some more strength on the mesh scale. And let's move it down a little deeper. A little bit deeper now. And it's not really being able to be very effective, so let's crank the mesh up all the way. Let's turn the color strength up so you can see where it's pulling from. Let's give it a little bit of scale. There we go. Now I got a little hole in there, so you can kind of see what I'm going for here. I just don't want it perfect. It's too perfect, it looks weird. And I want it more on the edge. There we go. So now when the stalactite breaks off, it will have like this little spot that will keep going down. And you know what? I think I want a couple of those. Let me scoot it over a little bit. Oh yeah. This one a little smaller. So we have two little raggy spots that are kind of sticking out. It'll also help align it too. Maybe we'll stick one more over here somewhere. Yeah, right off the edge there, it looks kind of craggy. I like that. There we go. So we'll have it not look quite like it's perfect. Lipstick. So now, this is kind of crazy the way we have to do this. So I have to go File, Save As. Stalactite cutting tool. Cut ring tool. Nope, cutting tool. You will save it. Now we'll mesh it out. Save mesh. Yep. Now we'll go to Imagine. Imagine, if you will. And we'll bring it in. Load. Stalactite cutting tool. There it is. And now object, export. There it is. STL. Stalactite cutting tool. Save it. And now we will go to Blender and we will close this box here. I will import file, import STL, cutting tool. Boop. And let's like before, it is monstrous in size, so we're going to have to shrink it down. Burp. And you will raise it up. Boop. Put her in the place. Shrink it a little more. Raise it up. Now what's fun about this is with that little hole right here I made, I can line that up with that stalactite right there. I can rotate it around and line that right up where I had that other one. Let's Z action this. Yeah, that's gonna work pretty good. See, now we're avoiding that little pinch point that I was worried about. Right there. With our cutting tool. And it's going to give this stalactite just a little bit more fun instead of just a flat cut like the box would have done. Oh yeah. Alright, before we boolean, we always save. File, save as. Now, things can go completely wrong now because I made that object have so many different pieces to it. It might just totally freak out. So, let's make a copy of it first. The cutting tool. And we'll call the cutting tool number 1 the hanging stalactite. That way I don't forget which is which. Alright. Let's first make our hanging stalactite. So let's try this out. Let's get rid of the cutting tool. There we go. Hanging stalactite. Add modifier. Boolean. And intersect fast and our upper floor. Bam, look at that. Beautiful stalactite. Now we'll apply it. Turn it off. And now we will go to our cutting tool. ST cutting tool. Now you will cut it the exact same way. Let's see, Boolean, fast, difference, cutting tool, chink, apply, and let's close our cutting tool and see that these little bumps. Oh, that looks weird. Okay, I don't like how that looks. Not good, not good at all. Yep, gonna have to go bigger on it. So Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Did I go too far? I think I did. That's okay though. Let's make sure I got it all good. Okay, so let's scale this up. Yep. Okay, now that it's scaled up a little bit, make sure it's all within the radius. Make sure we're not hitting that leg tight on the side. We are a little bit. So let's bring her on down a little bit. Zoop. Maybe a little bit too much scaling. Look how close that is. So close, but it's good. Okay. Looks like we got our stalactite inside the radius. That should look better. Whew. Let's do a resave. File. Save as. Number 48. Alright. Let's start all over. So now we're going to take and copy this. Control copy. Control V. And we will call this hanging stalactite. We'll turn the hanging, we'll turn off the cutting tool. We'll choose the hanging stalactite. And we'll add modifier, boolean, intersect, fast. Boop. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. Pretty good. And now we will apply it. Turn it off. Turn on our cutting tool. Select boolean, difference, fast, cutting tool, and apply and turn off our cutting tool. There we go. That's more what I was envisioning in my head. Just some chunks and bumps hanging down. And it's still rounded smooth, so it's a little bit weird, but the magnet's going to sit right here in this little spot here. But at least it's not completely flat. I think it looks pretty cool. Looks like it kind of has some chunks. Granted, it's still really nice and smooth here, but we got to have some smoothness somewhere. And then let's look at our hanging stalactite. There it is. So now we got to create something for our magnet, and we realize the magnet again was, oh, my memory is going faulty. Let's just remeasure to make sure we got it right. I'd hate to not have it right when we got to check this. It only takes a second to recheck it. So I got my caliper zeroed out. Just going to take and measure this. And we got a measurement of 62. And the height of it is with the cardboard is 3.4. So 3.4 times 2 to make sure it's deep enough. We'll go 3.5. That'd be 7. So let's go back to imagine. Imagine that. F1, delete, tube, and oh, I forgot to switch this over. Sorry, you guys. Yep. Okay. And let's see. Oh, the height was 7. The radius, or the full diameter was 6.2, so 3.1. And circle sections, close top, close bottom. So if you take a look at this, here's what we're looking at here. this pin. And the more vertical sections and circular sections you have, the better. I'm going to unstagger the points. I'm going to turn off the falling shading so we can see what we're looking at here. You can see all the different things here. Now you're probably wondering, why is he making this in this program? You know, that's a very good question. In fact, you know what? I could create the exact same tool actually just in Blender. You know, let's just go to Blender and create it. I forgot about that. So I can go add mesh cylinder, and my depth is 7 and my radius is 3.1, and my vertices, I want to crank it all the way up so it's nice and smooth. Well, 500 is probably a little too much. I'll just put in 200. Should be more than enough. There we go. Now I have to go find it. There it is. Now you're probably going, whoa, that looks huge. It is huge. Because remember, I set everything to 1/10 the scale. So now that I have to go to my scale here and change this to 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, and there is the size of the magnet. 2 magnets stacked together. Okay, now this is tricky because when he did this on the other parts, they were flat. It was really easy to tell where they were at. But since this part's rounded, it's going to be a little bit harder to tell where it's at in comparison. Because remember, it goes up and into it rounding. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to actually turn off the hanging stalactite so we can see where this is at and bring it down accordingly. We want it right in the middle. So that looks pretty good. All right. Now this is tricky. If I make it too deep, then it's not going to fit in there. But if I don't make it deep enough, the magnets are going to ride against each other. So I'm just going to scale it just a little bit over here on the Z-axis. Just to make it a wee bit taller. Just a wee bit. There we go. And that should fix our problem. All right, save as 49. There we go. And now you guys know the steps for this. So we got to save the cylinder and give it a new name. And I will call it Meg pin. Why I don't lose what it is. And we're going to take this Boolean difference fast Meg pin, apply, and let's see if it worked. Hooray! Turn the Meg pin on. Turn that off. And now we will add the hanging stalactite. There it is. And do the exact same thing. Boolean, fast, and Meg pin, and apply. There it is. Now we got 2 spots to shove the magnets into, and it should just plug right up into there. So Eric asked, will my floors be done at the end of this month? I don't know, Eric. It's a lot of work to get these all printed, but hopefully I'll have some done coming up here pretty quick. Yep, it'll be cool. It'll be cool once it's all done. I think you guys will be happy. All right, so let's go ahead and oh, those edges are really thin there. I may have to go back and remake this after I print it. We'll see how it comes out, because those edges are really thin around there. It may not be as smooth as I want it to be. That's okay though. If it's not smooth, having a little line there to show the stalactites loose is fine too. It'll be cool either way. All right, so we got them chopped. We got them ready. Let me save this. File, save as, number 50. All right. Now the fun part, the slicing and dicing for the printer. So the parts I need is the lower stalactite. I need the bottom stairs, the upper. So hopefully I got everything selected now. And I also need a master hinge pin. So where is that master hinge pin? Hinge pin master, there it is. And let me just oops. Oh, let me turn them all off. Hinge pin master, there it is. I'm actually going to copy it and make a new version. You know, I'm going to keep it there. What the heck? Okay, so I got the hinge pin, I got the stairs, got that, stalactite. They're all chosen. And now you will go File. I'll just save it again. And File, Export, STL, Selections Only, Scale 10 times. I'll make a special new folder just for it. Parts of the floor and you will export them all out. There they go. I'll export it out. And now it is time to set up the printer. No trapdoor, but you could use that little wooden piece to knock it out. All right, let's start with the easy thing. Let's go oh man, that's not what I wanted. Okay, let's try this again. File, Export, STL, Object, that's what I forgot, times 10. Okay, here we go again. Okay, now it should have done it. Kira. So let's do the first thing first. Let's do, where are they? There they are, parts of the floor. There we go. And let's do the stalactite first. That's the easiest. I did the hex pin. That's the easiest. Open. Now I need 3 of these. So we'll just make copies of them. So let's see. Let's just try copying and see if it works. Copy, paste. Nope. Okay. It's got to be a duplicate here somewhere. Multiply selected. Hey, there we go. I want 3. Okay. I'll just separate them out here. So this big area represents my printer base. And I got to stagger them so that they won't bump into each other when they start to print. There we go. And we will set it to, yep, 444. No support. No adhesion. I don't want them 100%. 20% fill. And show custom. Order. Inside the outside. There we go. One at a time. Dink. There we go. Slice it up. These will take 1 hour to print. 1 hour. Cool, cool. File. Whoops. Save to disk. And I will make a folder on my desktop called new folder. I got a new folder here. Snake Mountain floor print. Save. Hooray. On to the next one. Delete. 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 Prepare. Open. Go to the next hardest one, and that will be my hanging stalactite. Open. All right. Recommended. Support. Tree. Touching build place. Slice. Preview. Zoop. I'm gonna need a little extra there. Adhesion. Slice. Boop. Really? It's gonna be that easy to print? No way. No way. 28 minutes. Save to disk. All right. On to the next piece. The stairs. Let's see, lower stairs. Open. Okay. How do I want to print these? I want to print them like that. And I don't want to use tree. I want to use normal. Slice. Eight hours. Yep, that will work. Stinks. All this is wasted material just because. You know what? I don't want adhesion. Slice. There we go. 7 hours, 58 minutes. All right, save to disk. All right, let's see, file. Whoops, prepare, prepare. Now you will do the upper floor, top, opening. Whew, that is one big piece. You see now why the stairs don't stick out very far? And support. Slice. Uh-oh. It's taking a while to slice. There we go. Preview. Tree. Slice. Oh. Okay, save to disk. It's going to take 21 hours to print this piece. 21 hours! Save one last piece. And that is the bottom. Open. Bum bum bum. Dun da 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 da. Slice. One day, 13 hours. Let's see how it looks. Preview. Yeah, it's not too bad. Those stairs might be a little rough, but not too bad. And save to disk. All right, all my parts are ready. Once I have my printer free, they are good to go. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. I know that was kind of painful watching all that, so let me go ahead and Darth Vader it out. And I will see you guys next video. Sorry I didn't answer a lot of your questions.
If you found enjoyment, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Do it!